Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Adele Taylor with the Garden State Film Festival, and I am honored to be speaking today with Melissa Mars, filmmaker, director. She wears so many hats of the film The Last Touch. Melissa, thank you so much for being here with me today. So excited to have you on.
Hi, thank you. The honor is mine. I'm so excited to be in this festival, especially because it's a 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. I cannot
Yeah.
believe that it's been 20 years already, but I'm so excited to be there myself. I got to tell you, I know we're doing a lot of amazing things this year. So, and your film happens to be one of them that's going to be featured. So, before we go ahead and get started into some questions, can you just tell us a little bit about the film?
Sure. So it's dystopia. It's a young couple who struggles to keep their love alive in a world where technology has taken and replaced intimacy, and human touch has become deadly. That came from an idea I worked on for originally that was like for an acting class project,
Oh, wow.
and it became so exciting as I was creating it that also with the feedback I received from people who watched it, that I pushed the work on it to make it a real short, and now it's even more than that. But
Wow, I love it. And so I'm seeing here that you actually filmed this back in 2018. It's been some time. I think you would agree there's a lot that has happened. So how do you feel like The Last Touch is super relevant today in the year 2022?
oh my gosh. Um, it's so I can't explain. Like I just have goosebumps just thinking of when I thought of the idea, and then
Mhm.
I filmed it like real quick. It was in January 2018. I just moved to New York. And after that and the feedback, like I told you, I started developing it for further like pilot script. And the whole world started to build up, like what people couldn't touch, but it was like science fiction, like a dark dystopia. And when the pandemic happened, that was it had a double effect on me. First of all, it was like very shocking because on one side, I felt like I had my whole life to develop that project. I felt I was ahead of the time with that
You
concept,
were thinking of the future.
Yeah, right. And then I was depressed. I was like, oh my God, who's going to want to even hear about such a project when we're living it? Like literally, like when I saw the reality, I was like, that was in my head. That was not nowhere to be anywhere here in the real world, So after like during the development of the pilot, I decided that I would keep that short as a proof of concept. But because of the pandemic, that was the positive aspect of it, is when I decided to finish the project, complete it as an original creation with original music and, like finish the editing, complete everything, color correction, etc. I started submitting it to festivals.
Wow, that's amazing. I have here, I'm seeing this one statement that you talk about. It's really the core idea of the film. And I've got to say, I always think it's technology can be your friend or a foe. But specifically with your film, you talk about we are so connected that we are disconnected. I think that's incredibly powerful. And to your point, when you're thinking about COVID and how a lot of people had to rely on technology because we couldn't have that human interaction, what does it mean, do you think, like how does COVID shaped and change the film industry so far?
Well, I mean, it changed first the interactions between the world, and um, I feel that um, even though that statement, means what it means, like the technology is really disconnecting us from each other, from a real interaction. Somehow, maybe the good thing with COVID that happened is that the real connection started to happen through the technology, as opposed to right before when it was really disconnecting us from each other. It was like everything went through all our devices, and and got us like, I mean, yeah, disconnected from each other and from ourselves, our own selves, you know, like it became like and it is an addiction, even more so now. But in the same time, there is something real that's happening in the same time. It's like very, you know, like contradicting, but happening at the same time.
It is. No, I think you have an excellent point. I think COVID really made a lot of people, including myself, just to make sure that we sit with ourselves and we take time to evaluate what's important and what's not, and really take inventory of our mental health. And even though technology was incredibly important during that time, I still think that there's a little bit of that human interaction that now we do have the opportunity to have. And so we're just going full force with it. But I loved everything you said. Now, speaking of festivals, my gosh, has The Last Touch been a part of so many festivals? I mean, it's already won Best Sci-Fi Short at the Hollywood Film Festival, Best Social Distance Production, Miami International. I mean, just first of all, wow, and congratulations. That's an amazing accomplishment. What made you enter the Garden State Film Festival, and how do you think the Garden State Film Festival will be different from other festivals that maybe you've attended?
Oh, so it will be my first in-person festival.
You have the first in person. Okay, now I'm really excited.
Oh my God. That's why I am so excited, because as a filmmaker, I have lived this whole festival run from behind my computer. Oh. And that has been so isolating and sad. But again, some real connections happened, and some of them happened when, you know, like if the world was normal, I would probably have not been available to go to the festival. But because it was online, and you know, the organization did such a great job at having the filmmakers network and being able to connect together, yeah, some real things happened there. So that was the great thing that happened. But I really want to see it on the screen and see more people and feel people, you know. It's like, so that's how different it's gonna be.
I love that. And I've got to say, I attended the Garden State Film Festival the year prior, and just to see so many passionate filmmakers and actors and actresses, I think you might be overwhelmed just like I was, but in a good way. So just make sure you have your seatbelt buckled, because it's definitely going to be an amazing weekend. Now, just to kind of come back to you and this amazing film, can you tell us a little bit more about the process? How long did it take? Did you have a crew? What did that process look like?
So a part of it was actually magical. Talking about, again, social media and all, and you know, technology. That was kind of the first project I posted about while I was writing it. Like, I was so excited when I got the idea. Like, we had the challenge with our acting coach, Anthony Addison. And I went back home. I couldn't sleep. I had that vision, and I wrote, it was just 3 pages, basically, real quick. And I was like, I'm going to post about it. I don't know. I felt compelled to post about it. And out of it, and that was the first time I was posting about the writing. I used to be posting only about acting and singing and all the in front of the camera stuff that I was doing, but never behind. And what happened is that one of the people who read it was a DP, director, slash director, and he wanted to read it. It was like, oh my God, I want to make this. It's like, he didn't even read it. I was like, what? That's cool. I like that.
Right.
And where are you? And he was like in Israel. I was like, I'm in New York. How are we gonna make that happen? Because I need to film it this month, you know? And he's like, oh, bummer. Like, if it was in LA, I could have helped you. I'm like, yeah, me too. I was coming from LA. I had just moved to New York. And he was like, you know what? He read it then, like, of course, in the meanwhile. And then he was like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you find a DP. You need to make this movie. I was like, so touched, overwhelmed with the enthusiasm, you know? And he did. And I met Yanni Blazer, who had also recently moved to New York. And it, you know, like right away we started discussing how we could make it happen with close to no budget, you know, like that was very, very indie production. Uh, so we did that, and with James Casey, the actor co-star, and the three of us like really made it happen. Like that was the three of us on set. um, Managing the sound, the set design, or you know, like all of it, just on our own, you know. And then I did, you know, like it was half a day production. So that was not the longest. The longest was the editing, because I'm not a like an editor. I love and I hate editing at the same time.
I've heard
It's
that
really
before.
it's funny because it's like, oh, you have to sync the clips with the sound and everything, and then you discover what didn't work and what worked, and it's like, you know, like kind of a nightmarish. And then somehow the magic starts to happen, and the pieces get to being put together, you know. And it's like, oh my god, this starts to be exciting, you know. And it was in two steps. Like there was this big chunk, like production editing, showing it to my class and Madison, and then started to showing it to other people. And then when the pandemic happened, is then I took back the project, and I rewrote parts. The voiceover actually didn't exist in the first version, and I recreated the movie, you know, like a second life to the movie. And then I did all of that, and I got Steve Schultz to create the original music for it, and then it was done after a few months.
Oh my gosh. It sounds like a magical 2 months, just things happening and aligning. I love that.
Yeah.
So when people are at the Garden State Film Festival and they're watching your film and the credits roll at the end, what is something you want people to walk away with after watching your film?
I would think about my original desire with that movie was really to point at the effects of technology on our connection and how we interact with each other, and hopefully it can you know, help show that sometimes we need to drop those devices and just be together. I don't know, something like that.
No, I love that. That's so important. So I have to ask you, in terms of dropping devices, maybe going off the grid, doing something that's good for your mental health, what is yours? Do you have something that, you know, I'm taking off of work, I'm dropping everything technology wise that I have? What's your mental health regimen to just kind of get away from everything?
Yeah, so especially recently, I actually started, like, I did a social media diet, which is
I love that. It sounds like the title of a book, this or another
right.
film, The Social Media Diet.
Yeah, so that's what I did since Christmas. I didn't post anything for about a month. Like I think I just posted something like a week ago, and it was actually about a peaceful place I was blessed to go to, and I haven't posted for that long. And you can't imagine the amount of free time and focus I gained that was so precious that I want to be on that diet, you know, for as long as I can.
I completely understand. I actually was on a similar diet. I just said, you know what? I'm going away on vacation. I want to just enjoy it for the holidays. And you're right. The amount of free time you get and just the sheer relaxation of it all. It should be a 24/7 diet sometimes, I feel like.
Right? No, that's so good. Not only with that, but also the impact it can have on us. Like when we look at other posts, they have an impact on us that they can be like really inspiring, but sometimes it can make us feel down, you know, like seeing other things happen, whether it's the news or other people's stories, you know, and saving ourselves from that, like, can be really positive for the mental health.
It
And
is. Mental health is so important. And I think it also being able to sit back and relax and take a minute really helps you focus on the next chapter, the next journey for yourself. So speaking of which, what's next for you? I mean, you've made this incredible film. It's won several awards, been featured at several festivals. What's next for you after The Last Touch?
So I just completed with a co-writer, Keith Armonitis, who is actually an alumni of the festival as well, the pilot version of The Last Touch, extended version. So that's the first draft. So that means we have like a couple of drafts to run through, but that was like a big accomplishment because we worked on it for 3 years. We started before the pandemic, and then we had a break during the pandemic, like that depression kind of like, should we do this? and then we got back to it last year. So yeah, that's that. And I'm working on a prose version as well and other projects.
Oh, keeping busy. We love to hear it. And we hope that it'll be a part of future New Jersey State Film Festivals as well. But for those that are curious as to how they can watch The Last Touch, it will be at the Berkeley Hotel on Saturday, March 26th. From 10 to 11:30 p.m. And Melissa, I know you're excited to be there. I'm excited to see the film, to be there with you, and hopefully to interview you again afterwards, because I just can't imagine not having you there on our social media. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I can't wait for it.